Good evening, everybody. It is Saturday night in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My name is Adam Bittner, a weary Adam Bittner, joined by our Post-Gazette Steelers insider, Ray Fittpaldo, after the Steelers make another trade, Ray. I was in my Saturday night comfies. My hair was a mess. I had to hop in the shower so we could record this video, look presentable on video, because they make a deal with the Bears, acquire Justin Fields. The reporting out there right now is that it's a conditional 6th-round pick that could become a 4th-round pick with playing time. That now gives the Steelers 2 quarterbacks, Ray, 2 guys that we started talking about in the offseason. We spent a lot of time saying it's unlikely the Steelers are going to acquire one. Now they have both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields in their quarterback room, and no Kenny Pickett or Mason Rudolph. Let's just start with your immediate reactions to this deal.
Yeah, listen, no one knows how this is going to work out. Russell Wilson, of course, is the starter. Justin Fields is going to be the backup. But the Steelers have options going forward. If Russell Wilson should go down to an injury, and he is going to be 36 years old, Justin Fields is a guy who started a lot of football games. When I look at this move, though, I think the thinking is, let's get Justin Fields in here. Let's see if he could just sit back, learn from Russell Wilson, and we'll deal with that 5th-year option down the road. Maybe they even negotiate a contract before that comes into play. So, for a conditional 6th-round pick, I think it's a really good deal for the Steelers. 2 very competent quarterbacks are now in their quarterback's room, and I think without a doubt they're better at quarterback than they were a month ago.
Are you surprised at where the market went for Fields? I was on podcast, I think, I don't know if I was with you, but I was definitely with Paul Zeiss talking about, would you give up a 3rd-round pick for Justin Fields? Comes down to a 6th-round pick, and if he plays a lot, a 4th-round pick. And I think if things work out the way the Steelers want, Ray, it's going to be a 6th-round pick. Are you surprised that the price came so far down on him and so many of the other quarterbacks getting traded around the NFL? Kenny Pickett, Mac Jones, Sam Howell, those guys.
There just wasn't a market for him. And I think the Bears were hurt by the fact that they owned the number 1 overall pick, and everyone knew they were going to take a quarterback. So they were thinking, hey, you guys can release him. We'll pick him up and we'll sign him. No one was in a hurry to make a deal. So, the Steelers, based on what happened with Kenny Pickett on Friday, ended up needing a backup quarterback. But I don't know that this would have come to fruition if Kenny Pickett was still here. In fact, I know it wouldn't have taken place. So, fortuitous string of events here for Justin Fields. I think he lands in a good place for his career. He's going to have to sit back, learn Arthur Smith's offense. But, you would think with Arthur Smith and the way that he used Ryan Tannehill, the way that he used Marcus Mariota when he had him, that would be beneficial for Fields. So, a lot to repair there with his quarterback play, but I think he lands in a good spot with Arthur Smith and obviously with Russell Wilson to learn from.
What do you think the best case scenario is here for the Steelers, Ray? Is it that Russell Wilson plays well this year, plays his way into being possibly unaffordable, and that you take a guy like Justin Fields and plug him right in a similar way? Because I've already seen the quotes from draft night floating around. Justin Fields compared his game to Russell Wilson. Now those 2 guys are together. Is this a bid to basically, no matter what happens, have some level of continuity going forward? And if things work out with Russell Wilson, that kind of Justin Fields can pick up seamlessly if they can't bring Russell Wilson back?
No, I think if Russell Wilson plays really well, I think the Steelers will re-sign Russell Wilson and likely to, a longer-term deal. I mean, Russell Wilson has come out and said he wants to play for, 5 more years or so. He wants to win more championships. So, if he's out there leading the Steelers to the playoffs or even a playoff win, then he would come back as the quarterback. So, this Justin Fields thing is nice. I know he's got a high pedigree, number 11 overall pick, this and that. But, I don't think this is a 1-year deal for Russell Wilson unless things go really bad or unless he gets injured. I think, they signed just a 1-year deal now, but I think it's their intention that if he plays well, that he'll likely be here for longer than 1 year. So we'll see what happens with Fields. Maybe he's the backup here for 1 year, maybe a couple of years. I just think we have to wait to see how this plays out with Russell before we, make any definite, determinations on what Justin Fields' future here is.
Do you like Justin Fields' upside better than Kenny Pickett's at this stage? Because I think that's going to be the obvious comparison. Is it going to be? Do you look at Kenny Pickett or do you look at Justin Fields and say that's a better guy for the Steelers to move forward with?
It depends on the coaching. If Kenny Pickett gets great coaching in Philadelphia or wherever he ends up after that, maybe Kenny Pickett can turn into an average starting level quarterback. Justin Fields hasn't put it together yet. I would say there's probably a bigger bust factor with him. But if he ever figures it out, Adam, he's got all the athleticism in the world. We know what he could do with his feet in the running game. The issue is, with the Bears was his passing accuracy and his ability to, sit back there and read defenses and make the proper reads there. So, again, perfect situation. You come in, learn from Russell Wilson, get under a new OC, maybe an offense that fits your skill set better, and maybe this turns out better for Justin Fields than it did in Chicago.
Where do you think the Steelers go from here in terms of quarterback moves? Do you think they're done? Do you think these are their two guys, and that other than adding some camp arm that you bring in for training camp, that there's not going to be another significant move? Do you think they could draft a guy in the later rounds as maybe a Brock Purdy, development type that maybe someday could become a significant factor in the quarterback room? Do you think there's any more moves coming, Ray?
Yeah, Omar Khan said in Indianapolis they always carry three quarterbacks, and he didn't think that was going to change this year. So whether that's a draft pick, obviously now you're not going to use a high pick on a quarterback, but maybe you take a flyer on one in the later rounds. Maybe it's an undrafted free agent that comes in, or maybe it's a veteran who's sitting out there that you could sign to the vet minimum, just to fill out the quarterback room. So yes, they are going to make another move, but I don't think we're going to see anything happen there until the third day of the draft or after that. I think that's the point when they'll address the number 3 quarterback.
Let's pull the lens out a little bit, Ray. This has been a chaotic week for the Steelers at quarterback. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this, at least in my lifetime in Steelers history, shuffling 3 different quarterbacks in trades and signings. It was just Sunday night. Russell Wilson, we all got the alert on our phones, is coming to Pittsburgh. What do you think this represents in terms of the big picture about how this team is doing business compared to the way it's done it in the past?
Yeah, listen, Omar Khan's his 2-year anniversary will be like in a couple of months. He's only been on the job for a short amount of time, but he's made a lot of changes. He's overturned that scouting staff. And we've seen here in the last week, and even before that, he's not afraid to overturn the roster. I wrote a story for Sunday's paper. I think from Kevin Colbert's last game, the playoff game in 2021 against the Chiefs, to what they have now in the 90-man roster, there are only 17 players who were signed or drafted by Kevin Colbert. That's less than 20% of the roster has ties to Kevin Colbert. So, it's not that Omar absolutely knew he wanted to do this, but I think he wanted to change the culture, and I think he and Andy Weidel have some different ideas about team building. So we'll see where it goes from here. But I think it's clear that Omar is not merely picking up where Kevin Colbert left off. He's blazing his own path. For better or worse, the Steelers are blazing their own path with Omar Khan.
Yeah, I think that's really obvious, Ray. Do you anticipate we're going to see some movement at some other spots now? It seems like they've invested a lot of their time in, working out this quarterback position, getting it figured out this week. Obviously, there's still weaknesses at other positions. Do you anticipate any more significant moves between now and the draft?
Yeah, they will sign a veteran receiver, I think, to be the number 2 or the number 3. We'll see if they sign a center. Most of the free agent centers, the good ones, have been picked over, so we'll see what happens there. But now I think the next move is probably receiver. You know they're going to address some of these needs in the draft. I think they'll take a center in the draft. I think they'll take a right tackle in the draft. They could even take a depth inside linebacker in the draft to sort of learn behind Patrick Queen and to Landon Roberts, because Roberts is entering the final year of his deal. So, plenty more moves to be made here in both free agency and the draft. But it finally looks like, things are shaping up for Omar. He'll still be busy next week, but he filled a lot of the needs that he had to this week.
Yes, indeed he did. Ray, thank you so mumuch for joining me. I also want to thank Pella Windows and Doors, our primary sponsor for this episode of the podcast. There's no better place to get new windows and doors installed in your home than Pella, who can help you save on energy costs year-round. Schedule a free in-home consultation with your local Pella Windows and Doors to find the right product for your home and budget. Give them a call at 866-593-1560 to discuss your project further. That's 866-593-1560 to get started planning on your new windows and doors installation with Pella Windows and Doors of Pittsburgh. Please stay tuned. I think we're going to, at the very least, have some reaction to whatever happens with Pitt and Duquesne on Selection Sunday coming up here on the Post-Gazette Sports Now YouTube channel. Christopher Carter will be back on the North Shore Drive on Monday. It's possible, Ray, you're going to be the guest for that too. So we can digest this move a little bit, react to that. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you're just coming across this for the first time. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, help us out in the YouTube algorithm, and we will talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for checking out this content from Post-Gazette Sports. If you watch this video on YouTube, please like the video and subscribe to our channel. For all of the sports coverage the Post-Gazette has to offer, visit post-gazette.com.